Hi, friends. It is week 14 of the college football season, but honestly, who cares what week it is? It's one of the best weeks of the year, and you found your way back to the Carla and Crappy show. I'm Carla, obviously, and Crappy is once again feeling crappy. We miss you, bud. Sorry, it's the worst week ever to come down with something. So he's taking the week off to recoup and get things ready for. He's got a big weekend ahead of him. But AJ's here to
Uh-huh.
help keep things going. Hi, AJ.
Hi.
And because you're
Yeah.
a true sicko, you're going to help us sort out all approximately 1,736 title game possibilities across
We've we've
the world of the FBS.
we've calculated. We've gone into I also believe that Crappy he is actually sick, by the way, just so
Yeah,
we're
he
clear.
is.
He is actually sick to the point where he was supposed to come to my house on Thursday and has already said I can't come because I really don't feel well today and I don't know that it's going to get any better. Um, but the it's I also think that he's trying something new. For the last like 4 years, he's been on here and he's like, we just got to do this. We just got to get, and no, he's like, no, we are going into focus mode. He is locking in,
Yeah.
and it is something actually like, okay, I see where he's going. He's going into the cave of solitude in order to get in order to like lock in the mantra of Ohio State winning. So, we like to see that for our friend Crappy.
Yeah, that's it. Locking in early is the way to break a streak. So yeah, so we will get there. But before we get into all of the chaos that we are about to head into, if I might steal this from college basketball feast week, because let's be real, there's a lot going on right now. Let's start by taking a look back at last weekend. So AJ, what did you see last weekend?
I saw my Bows come to the mainland and play like crap. Um,
Yeah.
I was in a hotel room and I watched like I was at a dinner and then I came back from the dinner and I got back like right around halftime and I watched them come out of halftime and they just looked like crap. They just could not move the ball in any meaningful fashion. It just was not going well for my Bows. Um, but what I did see was the score of the Florida State NC State game, which we did tell you to keep an eye on.
Yes, we did.
And Florida State might not make a bowl because the NC State punter is a sniper and not only uh bounced they recovered two fumbles off of NC State punts. One of them went off of a Florida State football player's helmet
Yes.
and bounced all the way back to the punter recovered the fumble
Yeah.
basically like 5 yards down 5 yards up from the line of scrimmage. It bounced all the way back.
Yeah.
Um, and then the second one just rolled right off the Florida State player, and NC State goes in and gets a 10-point win at home, which was hilarious. Louisiana Arkansas State. I was watching the end of that game in an In and Out, which a delightful burger, and just watching that, yelling at my phone. I actually wasn't yelling; I was in public. Once I got into my car, I believe I yelled the phrase, "Butch Jones, what are you doing, you colossal idiot?" Because he had a timeout in his pocket that he could have called at any moment and chose not to, just for no reason at all. There was a play at the end of the game that you should go back and watch because it's one of the more chaotic plays I've seen this year. So Arkansas State driving down, they were down by 4, so they can't just kick a field goal and send it to overtime. They have to score a touchdown and they get to the one. In fact, they get to the one off of a defensive pass interference in the end zone. So they get down to the one,
Mhm.
and they run quarterback. It was a option play because the quarterback fakes the pitch. He goes for the end zone. He gets stuffed, but the play is never called dead because it appears that he fumbles, and so the refs don't blow the whistle. While the refs are not blowing the whistle, on the other side of the field, Louisiana's running onto the field in celebration, thinking the game is over. The refs do not call an unsportsmanlike penalty on Louisiana because they just don't. This game was in Jonesboro, by the way, so this was not like a home game, home cook in Louisiana thing. in Arkansas, and Butch Jones goes off the field in the most irate, uh, kicking and screaming thing I've ever seen a coach go off the field with. Like he is furious. Um, so that was Thursday night, and then Saturday I watched a whole lot of the early slate of games in a quad box on a plane. I want to thank the fine folks at Delta for their Wi-Fi and having it not go down for most of that flight. Cross country flight, I was literally quad boxing off of the Wi-Fi. It was pretty good.
Nice.
Um, and yeah, it was a solid early slate. Um, it was very interesting to watch. Um, Miami just kind of play around with Virginia Tech. Like Virginia Tech threatened a few times, but Miami would just kind of go, no,
Yeah.
and just shut it down. Um, so I am, uh, I think Miami maybe was playing with their food a little bit, but they have a little bit of a sterner test this week. Carla, what did you see?
Well, I spent a lot of my morning on Saturday. In the lovely Grove in Murfreesboro, hanging out with the fine friends at Blue Raider Extra Point. So thank you to the guys there. We had a lovely time. If you haven't seen it, it's posted all over my social media. Well, maybe I'll link it in the show notes as well. But yeah, no, it was a great time. And in fact, they've actually asked me to do something else, which we will get to a little bit later in the show.
Ooh,
Um, that we get to talk some FCS football, so that's gonna be a lot of fun. But it was a pretty good week for my fandoms. Middle finally picked up a home win.
yeah.
Um, and Roman Gagliano looks to be the quarterback of the future for the Blue Raiders. Like, kid's got some potential. And they pulled a win off there, so we'll see what happens. Also related to that, we found out that Derek Mason is going to be returning. For next year. So we know who the head coach is. We know probably who the starting quarterback's going to be next year. So we're starting to put pieces together for 26. We'll see how that plays out. Um, let's talk Vandy. Vandy looked unstoppable against Kentucky. That's a low key. People don't realize that's a low key rivalry game. Because both of those teams used to be like the bottom dwellers of the SEC, and they really don't like each other very much. And you had a little bit, like I had a little bit of a spidey sense here of like, is Vandy gonna get dragged down in the mud by Kentucky? Because that's what Kentucky does, is drag teams down in the mud. The answer to that was hell no, they didn't. Vandy scored and scored and scored. And Diego actually had to beg to get back into the game because he wanted to break his single game passing mark. And so he begged Clark Lee to go back into the game for a series, which he did. I had friends at that game who said that like once they made the decision that once Vandy got up by 30, they were leaving, and it happened. And so they left because they have two small children. They took to the game. But yeah, 484 yards last week against Kentucky. That was Diego. Watch out, Vols. We'll talk about that in a little bit here. And then, of course, I have to mention Penn State wins a huge game at home on senior night over Nebraska. Katron Allen becomes the team's all-time leading rusher, which I followed this team for a long time. I didn't realize how close he was to the record. And the fact that he was able to do it on senior night in Beaver Stadium was something pretty special. The only shame there is that they couldn't get Nick to the touchdown record.
Yeah.
He'll get that more than likely this week against Rutgers, but it would have been really cool had they both been able to get it. And they tried. They tried at the end of the game. They fed him the ball on a goal line, and he didn't get in. And then Katron got in on the next play, but yeah, no. So a good win there, and we're seeing the momentum. And I don't know how I feel about this yet on the Terry Smith staying as head coach. If you watch that at the end of the game, the players were all holding the signs up. And like, this is where I miss a little bit of old college. I mean, there's a lot of reasons why I miss old college football days, but like, this is one of the reasons why I miss old college football days, because it's not as easy now to take a flyer on a coach for like a couple of seasons. Like, it doesn't work that way anymore because of the portal. Um,
Mm.
but like, if you had the opportunity, like, what do you have to lose? Give him like a 2-year contract and see what happens. And if it doesn't work, then you end it. But that's not the world we live in anymore.
Not for Penn State.
Yeah,
There are plenty of schools that can do this. UCLA just did this with Deshaun Foster and then said, actually, we're good here.
yeah,
Um, You can do this. It is fully possible for someone to do this. The challenge is your boosters now have the ability to directly pay for players,
Hmm.
in essence. You have the ability to go get players out of the portal. You can't, college football has professionalized enough that at a certain level, like a Penn State, a Florida State, an Alabama, an Ohio State, none of those schools are interested in rebuilding years anymore.
Right.
There is an expectation of you're going to come in and you're going to put us right back on track. See, also news that broke today: Oklahoma State is hiring North Texas's Eric Morris.
Yeah.
That is a huge get for them, and he is the guy who is replacing, as we have said multiple times on the show, the statue guy.
Right.
However, the difference with the statue guy is the difference between this and something like Bowden, Paterno, Saban situation is Mike Gundy was not doing great at the end,
Right.
right? So it's not like, oh, he went out in a blaze of glory, 11 win season, and he won that. Like Nick Saban retired after losing the Rose Bowl to Michigan in the playoff,
Right.
right? That's not him having like a couple down years on the way out. It was, no, he went out as a playoff team. I think Eric Morris is going to do fantastic there. I did not know that he had a part in Mahomes and Mayfield when he was at Texas Tech, but he is a like offense-driven dude, and that is what Oklahoma State should be.
Yeah.
I love the idea of like tough. Like when Jim Knowles was the DC at Oklahoma State and they were just absolutely bodying people, it was great. But if you can have an offense like what Eric Morris runs, that can be really, really powerful. So I think it's much more of a levels of the sport
Hmm.
compared to just the overall level. Like if this happened in the MAC,
Right.
like if you like Matt Candle, who's at Toledo, he's been there forever. If for whatever reason he were to decide to leave or he were to be fired and you had the interim and they catch a good interim bounce and you have an interim, like sure, yeah, Mac will hire that dude and let him coach for a year or two because they're not paying him $9 million a year. That's the other part of this is that most college coaches at the like that upper echelon are clearing $7 to $8 million a year,
Right.
if not higher. Most big SEC coaches are at 9, 10. Ryan Day's at 10. Like you're paying these guys superb amounts of money. You're expecting results. So I think some of it is also just like the levels of it.
Yeah.
What else did you see?
Um, that was kind of because I missed most of the early window because I was on television myself. Um, so that was kind of the majority of what I saw. The one thing I didn't see was any sign of life out of Florida. Man, were we wrong on that. Um,
Mm,
that just no. And that does lead us to a very interesting game that's going to happen in Neyland this weekend, which again we will get to. But I think we're where we want to start this week as we start looking ahead because boy, we got a lot to get through. Is one of the things that happened last weekend on Sunday, in fact, was the FCS bracket was announced. And my friends over at Blue Raider Extra Point and MTN Sports, um, they do something really fun and they do a bracket pool for the FCS. Um, so think March Madness, but like for football, and it's just internal, just for bragging rights. But they asked me because I was on the show. They're like, "Do you want to be in the FCS pool?" And I was like, "There's brackets involved. Yes, absolutely, sign me up." And so then I asked permission. I said, "Hey, can I bring this to the show and can we like do like a consensus pick like we do for the when I appear?" So I am right now, I'm going to for those of you that are watching, you're going to see a bracket pop up here.
there we
There we
go.
go. We got it.
Yep.
Okay, cool. So this is the Division One FCS bracket that was just released, and we start games this weekend. That would be on Saturday, and so we are going to try to lightning round this. Again, we're sorry, Crappy's not here to help us with this, but we are going to try to lightning round this and pick a bracket so that we can enter the bracket pool. So I guess just we'll just go top to bottom and just pick
Yeah.
winners. Okay.
That works.
So the first game at 1 p.m. on Saturday, it's Illinois State 8-4 at 16 seed Southeastern Louisiana at 9-3. AJ, thoughts on that?
I got to go with the Daiquiri Cats. By the way, if you don't know, Southeastern Louisiana serves daiquiris in their stadium. Um, I have to go with Southeastern Louisiana here. Illinois State has been pretty good in the Missouri Valley Conference, but Southeastern Louisiana, I think they've been better overall. I'm gonna take Sela here.
Yeah, that was my gut too. Particularly just I didn't know about the daiquiris, and that makes me even want to pick them even more.
Yep.
But yeah, no, I was leaning Southeastern Louisiana there. The NEC representative, Central Connecticut State, Con Sta, 8-4, at or 9 seed. Excuse me, I keep wanting to say number nine, but it's not number nine. They are the ninth
No.
seed. Rhode Island at 10-2. That game's at noon Eastern, also on Saturday. My gut here says Rhode Island, but what are you sensing?
I like this battle of like the Northeast, right? You
Yeah,
got
yeah,
Central
yeah.
Connecticut State and Rhode Island. I appreciate that. Like Illinois and Southeastern Louisiana, not close together.
No.
These two schools probably have some overlapping rivalries somewhere along the line. Um, I gotta let the band play neck here. I gotta say Central Connecticut, Seacon Sta.
Seacon stuff?
Central Connecticut State goes in, gets the upset win. That feels
I,
right.
I like it. Picking for the NEC. I like it.
That's right.
Got to stick with our home conference. Um, Also at noon. Man, this is a good game.
Hmm.
Harvard, who lost the Ivy League title game to Yale on Saturday, which was also a really good football game.
If
Did you
you're a
have
Yale fan,
what was that?
if you're a Harvard fan, that was not a good football game
No,
for
no,
you.
no. Um, on the road at 12 seed Villanova at 9-2. I I don't know.
I I'm picking Villanova here. Harvard, I don't know what it was. That was the first time I'd watch Harvard all year.
Hmm.
And that game was in the Yale Bowl, but Harvard came out completely flat-footed. It was 24 nothing almost instantly. Um, and
Oh, so they Georgia Teched, is what you're telling
yeah.
me.
Oh yeah, like I watched that game. That was in my quad box because I was like Harvard Yale, sure. It's on I think it was on ESPNU.
It
And I
was, yeah.
remember just watching this I just remember watching the score going like, "Wait, why is Yale is just killing them?" There was like multiple long plays, there was a pick six in there. Like Harvard could not do anything. Also Yale had shiny numbers. They were like hologram numbers on the jerseys, which I found very hilarious given Yale
Yale.
Harvard.
Yeah.
Um, but I feel like I feel like I'm going to take Villanova here. That feels right.
Okay, we will go with Villanova. Okay, this one's really interesting. The record might not show it, but we've got a 7-5 North Dakota traveling to right here. 13 seed Tennessee Tech at 11-1. That game's also at 1 p.m. on Saturday. Being a homer, I'm inclined to pick Tennessee Tech here, but what do you think? It is a
I don't know.
Dakota.
It is a Dakota. That's the thing. It's a Dakota heavy. Um, I think North Dakota put a lot. North Dakota, I think, is the one school that might have put the fear of God into North Dakota State this year. I need to go look at that real quick. FCS. Show me the fighting North Dakota, the Fighting Hawks. Yeah, they lost to North Dakota State at home 15-10.
Ooh.
Um, North Dakota State had basically beaten everybody by a whole lot all season. They are the only team to put any sort of remote uh like they kept it within a score. Every other game this season for North Dakota State has been by at least 3 touchdowns. Um Youngstown State, sorry. Youngstown State was technically within a score. They won by 8. I'm taking North Dakota here. I love the story of Tennessee Tech. I love the fact that um who did they play recently? The SoCon Challenge Week. Who did they play?
I don't remember.
They played Tennessee Tech was playing somebody. That's why they're 11-1. They lost. Oh, Kentucky. They played
Oh,
Kentucky.
right.
And they lost 42-10 to Kentucky. And they snuck past UT Martin in their last game of the season. I'm taking North Dakota State here. Or
Okay.
sorry, North Dakota
North
here.
Dakota.
Yeah.
Okay, begrudgingly, I will go along. Also at 1 p.m. I also love the fact that all these games are at 1 p.m. and noon Eastern. That's
They're
quite lovely.
they're all on ESPN Plus. Both the first and second rounds of the FCS Championship are on FCS. You can quad box these with the ESPN app. Just throwing that out there.
There you go. If
Throwing that out there.
especially next weekend when we get into like championship weekend and you need something else to like, but
Mhm.
yes, that absolutely. Absolutely. Okay, so also at 1 o'clock, we got another Dakota, friends. New Hampshire, 8-4, travels to 14 seed South Dakota State, also 8-4. Um, Never pick against the Dakota,
It feels weird too. And this is also
and they're playing at home.
they're playing at home, but South Dakota State has just looked kind of broken this year. Um, they beat North Dakota 34-31 to finish off the season, but they went on a four-game losing streak, including losing to Illinois State, who we just picked against earlier. North Dakota State broke them. And New Hampshire is what conference is New Hampshire is third in the CAA. Yeah, I got to take South Dakota State here
Yeah,
at home. Yeah, the CAA is a very good conference, but it is not. It ain't the Missouri Valley, and it's not South Dakota State.
yeah. Okay, Drake at 8-3, travels to 11 seed South Dakota. Got another Dakota,
Drake is in the Southland, at the
I
Southland
think.
Conference. They are in the Pioneer League. They won the Pioneer League. Um, which Dakota are they playing?
South Dakota, heavy.
Oh, no, this is okay. Question: Can they beat South Dakota twice, or can South Dakota beat them twice? Because they've already lost to South Dakota this year in South Dakota. They lost
Hmm.
42-21 in week three.
I'm going to say yes because of how lopsided that score is. I think this game's closer, but I still think they win.
Yeah. Just in case anybody's wondering what's happening right now during a commercial break in the Mac, we have sumo suits at the Mac logo. Just throwing that out there. It's flipped
FCS
over.
FCS brackets and sumo suits. I love it. Okay.
Yeah.
Um, okay, also at 1 p.m. Saturday, Lamar travels to 10 seed Abilene Christian. Both teams are 8-4.
No. Abel and Christian won the UAC, the what is it? The Unified Athletic Conference. Um, and Lamar was third in the Southland behind Southeastern Louisiana and Stephen F. Austin. If I have to go, I'm going to go. I have to go off of one game. One team played both of them, and that is Incarnate Word. Abilene Christian lost 38-7. Lamar lost 24-17. A reminder, Incarnate Word was 5-7. So
Yeah.
two of their five wins are against playoff teams. I love this. I'm gonna take Lamar. They put up a better game.
If we take Lamar, then they're going to end up playing Stephen F. Austin again in the next round. So that's fun. Let's do that.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
And then the last first round game, Yale, winners of the Ivy League, at 8-2, travel to 15 seed Youngstown State, the
You're gonna
Penguins.
die, Yale.
Yeah,
I'm
that's I,
taking the Penguins here.
Penguins. That's what I was going to pick the Penguins too. So okay, Youngstown State. So we just eliminated the Ivy League in their first. Thanks for playing.
Hey, what has the Ivy League ever done for us?
Right.
Nothing. Nothing. Welcome to the FCS playoffs. You should have stayed out. You
Okay.
got
So the
two bids in your first year and you should have stayed out.
Okay, so I'm going to scroll back up here because now we got the big seeds coming in. Do we even have to talk about this one? North Dakota
Nope.
State. Nope. This
North
advance them.
North Dakota State advances. North Dakota State is absolutely demolishing teams this year. They are
Yeah,
12-0, and I don't see this. I don't see Sela going to the Fargo Dome having a good time. That's at 1 p.m. The weekend after,
the weekend
next
after. That's
weekend.
on December 6th. Yeah. Okay, so the 8 seed UC Davis hosts Central Connecticut State,
UC Davis.
UC Davis.
We're putting the Big Sky up.
Lehigh. This is fun. Lehigh hosts Villanova. I like that one.
Ooh, that's a good local PA
That
rivalry.
is a good local PA rivalry.
I watched all of Lehigh-Lafayette. That was a very good game. And I gotta take Lehigh here. They
Yeah.
played they came back. They were at home, but they came back or no, Lafayette was at home. They came back against Lafayette at an away crowd, the longest running rivalry in college football, got the win, celebrated on your rivals, your literal the name brand rivals turf with the championship. Incredible work.
Awesome. This
Uh,
the next game here is really interesting. Four seed Tarleton State hosts North Dakota. Now, Tarleton did not look good last week, friends.
mm-mm. Tarleton did not look good. However, they did beat Army in West Point, which I find truly hilarious.
Yeah.
Um, I feel like I gotta go. I'm gonna go Tarleton State. Like you had a good run, North Dakota, but you're not North Dakota State. You're
Yeah.
regular North Dakota. So I'm gonna take Tarleton State here.
Um, Three seed Montana hosts South Dakota State.
This is
Hmm.
a banger. You should absolutely watch this game. I don't care what championship game is. Actually, hold on. Let me go look and
It's at
see.
2 o'clock on December 6th. That would be like
That's Big 12 championship time.
which is probably
Uh,
gonna be on an ESPN network. No, that's gonna be on Fox, isn't it?
no, Big 12 is on ABC.
Okay, so
So
there you go. You can
noon,
quad box it in the ESPN app.
your noon slate is the Big 12 championship and the MAC championship. Uh, or your slate on Saturday is the Big 12 championship and the MAC championship are at noon. So you should absolutely quad box this game. This game will be a banger. And I'm taking Montana. The Grizz. I listened to the end of the Montana State Montana game. Like I didn't, I had the blitz on, and then I just flipped over to completely to the Montana State broadcast.
Yeah.
A true delight. Um, I'm taking Montana there. The Grizz are good.
Yeah, they are. They're real good. Um, Six seed Mercer, who, hey, gave Auburn a scare in the first quarter, and
Hmm.
then Auburn took over and won the game. Um,
Yeah.
but 9-2, they would host South Dakota.
Carla, can you scroll the screen real quick
Oh,
so we can
yep.
see the bottom games? Yeah. I'm gonna take Mercer.
I think so too.
I'm gonna give Mercer the love here because I think Southland is up. There's
Uh,
Southland. Yeah.
Conference rivalry. Seven seed Stephen F. Austin hosts Lamar.
Gotta take Stephen F. Austin.
I think so too, because they've already beaten them once.
Mm-hmm.
And then here's
Mm-hmm.
another banger for you. Two seed Montana
Mm-hmm.
State hosts Youngstown State at 2 o'clock.
I love that for you, Youngstown. Get those flight miles in. You're going home with bruises. Montana State wins.
Yeah.
Montana State, Montana State winning the. Oh, I just realized what's happening here with this bracket. Number one, by winning the Big Sky, they basically guarantee themselves the number two seed, which then also guaranteed them being on the opposite side of the bracket from North Dakota State.
Yep.
But Montana being at number three means you could potentially have a Brawl of the Wild semifinal,
Yep.
which we love.
Which
Okay.
I think we're setting ourselves up for here.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like we could sim to finish here,
Yeah.
but we're taking Montana State here.
Okay, so the semifinals, North Dakota State, UC Davis.
Scroll it up.
There you go.
Yeah, North Dakota State, UC Davis. I wanna say yes to the Big Sky, but it is very hard for me to argue against North Dakota State.
Yeah.
They've looked diabolical this year. That's what their play style is diabolical.
Yep. I agree. Lehigh Tarleton.
Um, Lehigh,
Lehigh. Montana Mercer. That's
Montana.
that's Montana. Yeah.
And then let's scroll down for Stephen F.
Even
Austin
if Austin and Montana
at
State.
Montana State. Cats, Montana State.
So we get a Brawl of the Wild. I love it.
Yep. Brawl of the Wild. in the semis, and then at the top we have North Dakota
North
State,
Dakota State and
Lehigh.
Lehigh.
North Dakota State.
Yeah.
Come on now.
And then who
Can
wins?
you
And then who
beat
wins the
your
Brawl of the
rival?
Wild rematch?
Can you beat your rival? And by the way, this would be a flip because the Brawl of the Wild this year was in Missoula at Montana, which means this game would be at in Bozeman
All right.
with Montana State. By the way, if you ever want to know how I remember which one is which, the Montana are the Grizz. It's Grizzula.
Okay.
That's how I remember. So the Montana's in Missoula. Montana State is in Bozeman. So this one would be in Bozeman. Montana State won as the Montana State was the first away team to win Brawl of the Wild for the first time since 2018.
Wow.
Uh, um, mm,
Who's going to give North Dakota State a better game? Let's go that way.
I feel like Montana State. Montana State lost in week two to they lost to South Dakota State, didn't they? I'm pulling out all of the rando knowledge that is in the back of my brain right now. Montana State 10-2. Yeah, they lost to South Dakota State 30-24 at home. Um, they opened the season. Montana State opened the season at Oregon and then home against South Dakota State.
They were 0-2.
And they were 0-2. And then they went on a 10-game winning streak, including a where they were held to only 17 points by the vaunted Lakers of Mercyhurst. That Mercyhurst for all my Pennsylvanians.
That's hilarious.
At home, too. I don't know what the heck happened there.
Yeah.
If you ever want to see a team who's on like a paycheck run, go look at Mercyhurst's opening of the season. They played they played at Youngstown State, home against New Haven, then at Sacramento State, at Montana State, at South Dakota State to
Yeah.
open the season. Just absolutely awful. They did beat Robert Morris, so I can't
Yeah.
talk too much smack. I'm taking Montana State. I think Montana State was the better team uh in the Brawl of the Wild game. I think it'll also be a close game. It was a 31-28 win for Montana State. That included a blocked field goal by Montana State, which was the difference in that game. I'm still taking Montana State. They'll be at home this time. So we'll do that. And then that sets up North Dakota State, Montana State. I'm sorry, Cats, but you're not getting this one either. I'm taking the Bison to win their like 12th title in a row or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't see any reason to pick against North Dakota State at all.
Yeah. That game's gonna be right down the street from me. That game is being played at Vanderbilt. But tickets are crazy expensive. So I was like, oh yeah, I'll go to the FCS title game. No, I'm not.
No, you're
No, I'm
not.
not. No.
Nope, because North Dakota State fans have already bought all the tickets. It's like Bama with the playoff.
Yeah.
Like they just buy their tickets now. They're just like, yeah, we'll be there. It'll be fine.
So,
Um,
well,
and
cool.
by the way, they've been going to Frisco, Texas
Yeah, for a long time.
for the
Like
game for a long time.
like
So
12 years,
this
I
like
think.
yeah, so getting to go to Nashville, like yeehaw. Also, Montana State and North Dakota State fans coming to Nashville, actual people who wear cowboy boots like for real are going to come to this
Yeah.
city. They will be so mad at the honky tonks.
Culture
That's not
clash.
how we live. Your culture is not my cost. My culture is not your costume.
Yeah.
Anyways,
Anywho,
that's your FCS bracket. We've
that's the
just picked the
FCS
entire
bracket.
FCS
So
playoffs.
watch FCS football. Watch FCS
Mhm.
football. It starts this weekend. Slate that in. It's all on at noon Eastern or 1 p.m. Eastern on Saturday. So figure out your quad box so you can get some of these games in there and pay attention to them because you've got good football at all levels happening this weekend. We've got second round of the FCS, or I'm sorry, the Division 2 and Division 3 are happening this weekend as well. So yeah, football all the time. Lots of options for you. Speaking of which, I think it's time that we dive into the Group of Five After Dark, but we're going to take a slightly different approach to
Hmm.
the FBS games this week. AJ, do you want to kind of explain how we're going to do this?
Yeah, so I walk through all the championship game scenarios. So what we're going to do is we're going to go conference by conference, and I'm going to break down what's going to happen. We're not going to pick every game. We're not going to go into a deep dive of every single game. But what we're going to do is we're going to walk through the games that matter in each conference this week and what needs to happen for teams to make the title game. If your team is not mentioned, it's because they're not really in the race. Okay? I'm sorry. Um,
Sounds good. Let's ride.
So let's start with the easiest one, which is an actual conference championship game right up front, and that is on Saturday at 6:30 p.m. Eastern on God's CW network. That's right, kids. It's leg two of the Oregon State Wazoo. The Pac-12 championship game comes to a thrilling conclusion. Washington State is favored by 13 and a half. The fun index is 42 and a half. We're not going to make any sounds about that. This is Pac-12 football, and that is beautiful. Um, Oregon State is down bad, y'all.
Yeah.
They lost to Sam Houston State. They went to Tulsa and got killed. They're done. They have mailed it in. Washington State, I just want to point some things out. That Washington State in the past year, so everybody's like, okay, well, they're 5-6. This is, by the way, Washington State needs this for a bowl.
Right.
It's still on the table for them. Yes, they did lose to North Texas 59-10. That was before we recognized that North Texas was out here murdering people. Um, they lost in consecutive weeks by 3 points at Ole Miss and by 2 points at UVA. They also went to Harrisonburg, Virginia last week and put the fear of God into James Madison.
Yes, they did.
Washington State is not a bad team. I don't know what happened in that Oregon State game because they lost that 10-7 and one of the grosser games I've seen in a while. Um, Washington State is actually pretty okay. Um, they're better than they're getting credit for. I got to take the Cougs here to avenge their conference loss and win win. I think we have to go. What's the soccer rule? Away goals. I think we have to go based on away points scored. Um, this game is at home, so they scored 10 points away, which means they have to win by at least 9. Yeah. They got to win by at least they got to hold Oregon State to under 10. That's what I believe is the actual tiebreaker here in
Okay.
international soccer rules. Where you got here?
No, I like Wazoo. Wazoo looked real good against James Madison, like you said. I mean, Jimmy really had to work hard to pull that win out at home, and I thought that was gonna be a cakewalk for
Hmm.
them. So yeah, Wazoo's trending in the right direction. Give me the Cougs at home.
So let's start with the American. We're just
Okay.
going to go, I think, alphabetical here. Um, we have 4 teams or 3 teams really that are in the race here. There's actually 5 teams if you really want to get into the nitty gritty. We have Navy, North Texas, and Tulane. All 3 of those teams are 6-1 in conference. ECU and USF are 5-2. They need to win. They need basically all of the 6-1 teams to lose and a whole lot of help. So we're just going to say, for the sake of this, that ECU and USF are not really in the race.
Okay.
Um, Navy, we have been blessed by some sort of football deity because I know that we're not getting the Egg Bowl. We'll talk about the Egg Bowl in a moment, but we're not getting the Egg Bowl on Thanksgiving night, which is a travesty.
It
What we
is.
are getting is Navy at Memphis.
Yeah.
So listen, we are getting great football. Okay. We're
It's
getting
probably gonna be
truly
a better
good things.
game if we're
Yeah.
yeah.
Something along those lines. Memphis is favored by 5.5 at home. The fun index is 59.5. Navy needs to win, and they need North Texas or Tulane to lose. Um, Basically what happens is if all 3 win, it goes to head to head. North Texas beat Navy, so North Texas would automatically be ahead of them. And also it goes based off of playoff rankings, and North Texas or Tulane is currently in the playoff rankings.
Yep.
So it is very unlikely that Navy, just by winning, gets in. They need to win and get some help. Uh, who would North Texas and Tulane be playing, you may ask? Texas is hosting Temple at 3:30 on Friday on ESPN. North Texas is favored by 19.5. The fun index is 65.5. All North Texas has to do is win and they're in. and Tulane is hosting Charlotte, the worst team in the American. That's at 7:30 Eastern on Saturday on ESPNU. Tulane is favored by 30.5. That is an Iowa fun index
Yeah.
over Charlotte. And the fun index is actually set to 52.5. Tulane wins and they're in. So basically, North Texas and Tulane, if they handle business, there's your American title game.
Yeah.
That should be very good. I believe it would be Tulane hosting it because they are ranked higher in the playoff rankings. So, Carla, who do you think is going to be in the American Championship game here?
Unfortunately, I think it's going to be North Texas and Tulane. I don't see any way that either of those two teams lose the games that they are playing, which sucks because Memphis is going to be a banger, and I would love to get Navy into that title game for personal reasons, but I just don't see it. I don't think it's going to happen. So yeah, I think we're going to have a very green American um,
Mhm.
conference title game.
I will also say that for those of you who are saying, but AJ, Navy and Army, they are in the same conference. That's a conference game. Surely that it doesn't matter.
It
That's
doesn't
not a
matter.
conference game. They may be in the same conference. They do not play that as a conference game. Army Navy is unmoored from space and time, as has been foretold. That means literally nothing to the playoff selection. It is just it's effectively a scrimmage between the two of them that shows up on their record. Um, let's go to the CUSA. The
Okay.
CUSA actually kept this beautifully short. There are three teams that are playing for the CUSA. You have Western Kentucky, Jacksonville State, and Kennesaw State. All three of those are 6-1 in conference. And Conference USA, I don't know what they're doing. I don't know if this is scripted. I'm a big wrestling fan. This may just be all scripted and the outcomes are predetermined. However, every year I feel like there's a game in the CUSA that is deciding the team that goes to the championship
Yeah.
game. And this year is no different. Western Kentucky at Jacksonville State. That's at 2 p.m. on ESPN Plus. Western Kentucky is favored on the road by 2.5. The fun index is 55.5. This is a playing game. The winner goes into the championship game. The loser needs some help. The other game is Kennesaw State at Liberty. Kennesaw is 6-1 in conference. That is at 3:30 p.m. on CBSSN, the network of
Champions.
Kennesaw is favored by 2.5 on the road. Fun index is 54.5. Kennesaw State just needs to win and they're in. That's it.
Yep.
Um, if Kennesaw State loses, it goes to the Sports Source Analytics team rankings, I believe. No, they go to blended computer rankings, which is Connolly SP Plus, ESPN Strength of Resume, the KPI rankings, and the Sports Source Analytics team rankings. Sports Source came out of nowhere. I have never seen them before, and I've done this the past few years.
Yeah.
Out of nowhere, they show up. They are a data collection and analytics company that all of the conferences use now to rate teams compared to each other, and it is fully paywalled. So you cannot see what their rankings are. You just have to wait for the conference to tell you what they are, unless you have a Sports Source Analytics account and sign up for our Patreon. No, I'm kidding. No, Sports Source, I don't know what the heck their deal is, but they came out of nowhere, and so they're all over the place. I'll mention them a little bit later too. Carla, who do we think is going to be in the conference championship game?
This is interesting because the CUSA was a hot mess last weekend. Everybody that we picked eventually ended up winning, but man, there were some tight games. Jacksonville State went down to the wire in their game. Kennesaw went down to the wire. Like there was just a lot of really tight games in the CUSA. This is tough. Liberty gave a game to Louisiana Tech, which was not expected. Liberty cannot make a bowl game unless they
Mm-mm.
get the 5-7 bump, because that's their
They
best
didn't come to
record
play
here.
school though, so
Right. Um, I don't know if Liberty can pull that off though. They're playing at home. That's dangerous. That's dangerous. And Kennesaw was not as sharp as they normally are last week. But I think Kennesaw knows what they're playing for, and I think Kennesaw wins. And then the other game, gosh, I don't know. Those two teams are both really, really good. Um, Jacksonville State's going to run the ball to death, and they're playing at home. Let's go with the states, Jacksonville and Kennesaw. I don't feel good about the Jacksonville State pick though because Western's been so good this year and their defense is good. Um, but Jacksonville State's playing at home, and I think that's a motivating factor here.
I'm going to pick against you here
Okay.
because I don't know if anybody else noticed, but Western Kentucky put LSU in a headlock
That is
for
true.
4 full quarters. That spread was like 20 something. LSU 13, Western Kentucky 10 in Death Valley. I don't want to hear a thing about how scary Death Valley is on a Saturday night anymore. Okay? That was a night game in Death Valley, and Western Kentucky almost won.
Hmm.
Probably should have. Um, I'm taking Western Kentucky and Kennesaw here. Kennesaw has been playing. I think Kennesaw really wants this. They are in their
Yeah.
second year. They can't make a bowl game, so I'm taking Kennesaw to play in the title game. Let's now go to the Sun Belt, another division, another G5 conference that has kept things blessedly simple because they are the only one that still has divisions.
Bless.
And James Madison already won the East. They are 7-0 in conference. They play Coastal, who is currently tied for second in the East at 5-2. But both of those teams are 5-2, not 6-1, which means there's no chance that they're going to get caught. So James Madison has already punched their ticket and will likely host the Sun Belt title game. And just like the CUSA, the last game of the season comes down on the western side to having those two teams play. Troy at Southern Miss. These are the top two teams in the Sun Belt West, and they're going to play for a chance to play for the championship game. That's at 3:30 p.m. on ESPN Plus. Southern Miss is favored by 6.5 at home. The fun index is 50.5. I gotta take Southern Miss here.
Yeah, I think
Um,
so.
this is also something interesting. Hey Carla, who's the head coach at Southern Miss?
Oh, I knew you were going to ask me that.
Listen, this is a trivia question for all of you. If you're screaming at your radio, sound off in the comments. It is former Marshall head coach and current defending Sun Belt champion head coach
Right.
Charles Huff, who left Marshall in a huff and goes down to Southern Miss, takes about half the team with him, and he has a chance to win the conference back-to-back years with different
With
teams.
different teams. Yeah.
Yep, Southern Miss. I want that weird story. I want that. I want weird things in the history books. That's all I want.
Yeah.
So we're gonna take Southern Miss there. Carla, who you got there?
Yeah, I guess what I missed too.
The Mac. Oh, remember how all these conferences have been nice and clean? The Mac said, ha 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 ha, aha, gotcha. Um, there are 4 teams. Hold on, let me pull up my spreadsheet. Let me get this right because I didn't put the thing in right. There are 5 teams, excuse me, who legitimately have a shot at playing in the MAC championship game. Western Michigan is 6-1. Central Michigan is 5-2. Miami of Ohio is 5-2. Ohio is 5-2, and Toledo is also 5-2. We have a problem here. We got a
Yes.
real logjam, and this is going to come down to some silliness. Right now, as we're recording, Western Michigan is currently beating Eastern Michigan like 31-13, something like that.
Something like that. Yeah.
Um, so
They're in a
all
TV
they have
timeout,
to
friends.
do,
That's why we don't know the exact score at
yeah,
the
that's
moment.
why we don't know the score. I'm looking at a man with a beard. Um, they all they needed to do is beat Eastern Michigan, and they're in the championship
Yeah.
game. That
31-13 with
appears
10 minutes to play in the fourth.
that looks like it's about to happen.
Yep.
So now we have one spot and 4 teams. Whee! Um, here's how this goes. Central Michigan is so let's start. We're just going to go chronologically here. At noon on Friday, because this is Thanksgiving week, so there's a lot of games on Friday. Noon on Friday, Ohio at Buffalo on ESPNU. Ohio's favored by 6.5 on the road. Fun index is 44.5. Ohio needs to win this game. Full stop. They have to win this game, but they will absolutely need some help. And the biggest one is their rival Miami. They need Miami to lose that game. And then they need to have a higher Sports Source Analytics team ranking. Remember how I mentioned Sports Source just a minute ago?
Yep.
They're back. They are the ranking tiebreaker in the MAC. So you don't know what they are. I tried to look it up. I could not find it. So a heretofore unknown metric is what will be potentially picking teams to go to the MAC championship game. Also, at noon on Saturday on ESPN Plus, we have Toledo at Central Michigan. Toledo's favored by 10.5. The fun index is 45.5. Toledo needs to win, and they need Miami to lose, and they are in. Central needs to win. They need Miami to lose, and then they need to have a higher Sports Source analytics ranking than Ohio. So this gets real like basically everybody needs Miami to lose. So who's
Right.
Miami playing? Well, at noon Eastern on Saturday on SN, the network of,
Champions.
they are playing and hosting Ball State.
Ugh.
Um, Ball State, not one of the better teams in the conference. Miami is favored by 17.5 at home. The fun index is 45.5, and all Miami has to do is win and they're in. So, that is how the MAC breaks down. I believe, unless unless big play for Eastern Michigan there. Um, unless Eastern Michigan comes back and wins, and that really throws this into a real tizzy. Um, I don't think it's happening. But if they do, this could everything I just said might be wrong.
Yeah.
But I have a feeling that Western Michigan is going to be one of the teams, and it feels really hard to pick against Miami when they're playing Ball State and all they have to do is win.
Agreed.
I'm
Sucks,
sorry,
but
Crappy.
sorry, crappy. Yeah, no, it sucks, but I agree. I think your MAC title game is Western Michigan and Miami.
Um, let's go to the Mountain West. My bows are not on this list, and that hurts my chest to say that. They're not. The Mountain West is real fun right now because you have San Diego State is 6-1, Boise State is 5-2, UNLV is 5-2, New Mexico is 5-2. All of those are the teams in conference that are in position to make a run at the Mountain West championship game. Thankfully, the scenarios are relatively simple here. San Diego State is playing New Mexico. That game is at 3:30 on Friday on CBSSN, the network of.
Champions.
That's the third time. Why are they the network of champions? Because they're determining who your champion's going to be.
Yep.
San Diego State is favored by 1.5 on the road at New Mexico. The fun index is a paltry but beautiful 41.5. All San Diego State has to do is win and they're in. If New Mexico wins, they need Boise to lose. Boise State is at Utah State at 4 p.m. on Friday on big CBS. Ba, ba, ba,
Ba, ba,
ba, ba, ba,
ba,
ba,
ba, ba.
ba. Boise's favored by 3.5. The fun index is 55.5. If Boise wins, they're in. And then finally, waiting upon all of these results is UNLV. UNLV is at UNR. That is University of Nevada at Reno at 9 p.m. on CBSSN, the network of, again,
Champions.
UNLV is favored by 8.5. The fun index is 53.5. UNLV needs to win if Boise loses. If Boise wins, UNLV's done. They
Yeah.
can win and it'll be fine. Now, can I introduce a max chaos scenario? If New Mexico and Boise and UNLV win, that means that all four teams are 6-2, which then goes to the blended computer rankings, which is Connolly SP Plus, ESPN Strength of Resume, KPI rankings, and the dastardly Sports Source Analytics team ranking, which I do not have. However, if based on right now, the average blend, San Diego State is 42, Boise State is 52, UNLV is 46.
Hmm.
ESPN SOR and KPI love UNLV. Connolly SP Plus does not. And New Mexico is 57. So obviously, if New Mexico beats it, San Diego State, these rankings get real jumbled real fast.
Yeah.
But we will potentially not know until Monday when some of these rankings start to roll out how any of these championship game matchups will happen. By the way, the Mountain West does the higher ranked team hosts the championship game. So it's not like the MAC plays at Ford Field and it's just like get to Ford Field. That's the MAC championship game.
Right.
So some of these teams are going to be scrambling on a week's notice to figure out where they're going to be playing football. So that's very fun for the equipment managers and alike
And the support staff.
and the support staffs.
Yes.
But it is time to open the buffet
For the last time this year.
for the last time this year. We have 4 teams in contention, right? The Big 12, the buffet was open all year, and there's only 4 left standing because everybody got real full at 5-4. Uh, so you have BYU and Texas Tech. They are 7-1. They just need to win, and they're in. Arizona State and Utah are 6-2, and they're going to need some help. Um, this is pretty straightforward. If BYU beats UCF, they're in.
Yep.
In fact, actually, let's just go through the games here.
Yeah.
On the buffet, we have number 13 Utah. These are all the college football playoff rankings. Thank you, Carla, for keeping these up to date.
Yep.
Number 13 Utah at Kansas at noon on Friday on ESPN. Utah had an upset tummy time in one of the sillier games I've watched um, against Kansas's. I guess we'll call them Big Brother, given the fact that Kansas hasn't beaten them in a very long time. Got to go the Utes here, though.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. And that Kansas State game was crazy. Um,
Mhm.
but yeah, no, that Kansas isn't it this year. I like the
Mm-mm.
Utes.
At 9 p.m. on Friday on Fox, the Territory Cup, number 25, Arizona at, excuse me, hold on. Let me make sure I get the ranking right because I thought I saw something different earlier. Did you, hold on. Arizona State is number 20. Just need to make
Ooh,
sure that
I
they're,
missed that one.
yeah. Number 20, Arizona State again at or hosting number 25, Arizona. This is the buffet pick of the week. This is a rivalry game. This is going to be a great game. You should
Yeah.
absolutely put your eyeballs upon this game. This is in Tempe. This game is going to be bonkers. These two teams don't like each other, and they are basically down the street from each other. Tucson and Tempe are like an hour and a half apart,
Yep.
and they're in the middle of nowhere. So this game should be absolutely awesome. I got to take Arizona State here. Noah Fafita has been fantastic all year, but I don't know what Kenny Dillingham has in the water, man. He made Jeff Sims good. Like Jeff Sims has more teams in his college resume than some quarterbacks do in the NFL. Like Jeff Sims has been everywhere and he's not really been great anywhere and he's been playing his life playing for his life at Arizona State. I got to take Arizona State here.
Yeah, this one definitely the buffet pick of the week. This game's gonna be tight. I was laughing that the football gods, whoever scheduled Georgia Tech, moved it like to an earlier window, but instead we get Arizona State in the late Friday night window. So guess what? We're all gonna be up late anyway because
Mhm.
this game goes overtime. Like I really think this game is gonna be that close, that tight. Um, like I have a lot of love in my heart for Arizona, but I think you're right. I think Sparky's the pick here. Playing at home. Um, yeah. It hurts me to say that as somebody who is normally a bear down kind of person, but yeah, Sparky at home.
We then go to Morgantown. West Virginia hosts number 5 Texas Tech at noon on ESPN. Red Raiders. Come on now. West Virginia, I need like this is Rich Rod needs to get in way deep into his bag with this one,
Yeah.
but I feel like that Texas Tech defense is going to make Scotty Fox's life awful. Um, this is a reminder that Scotty Fox Jr., who's the current quarterback at WVU, that everybody's super jazzed up about, he was like the seventh string quarterback.
Right.
They found him in the box somewhere. And now he has to go up against an NIL loaded, basically NFL defensive front.
Yeah.
It's not going to go well for you, my boy. I'm taking Texas Tech here. Um, also, hey, Rich Rod, the last time maybe Rich Rod could do the thing.
Hmm.
Maybe Rich Rod could 13-9 somebody,
Right.
avenge the demons. You have a number 5 team coming in last game of the season, national title aspirations. What if you ruin their season, Rich
Well,
Rod? What if you did it?
13-9 happened in Morgantown.
It sure did.
So
Avenge like erase the demons. It won't
strange things
happen,
happened
but
in Morgantown. That's I have this on my spot. Like keep an eye on the score on this one. This should be an easy Texas Tech win. Like they should absolutely win this game. But like if this score is close, like flip this game on, please. Because if this game if West Virginia stays in this game into the second half, it's gonna get real spicy at the end. So get this game on your radar. So just scoreboard watch this one. This is not like an immediate quad box. Like this is just a scoreboard watch and be ready to move if you see the score. But yeah, I think the Raiders are the pick.
if Texas Tech loses and Utah wins, they go to the conference championship game. That is their play-in scenario. They need Texas Tech to lose, and they have to beat Kansas, which would put Utah into the championship game.
Yeah.
We're gonna flip through a couple of these other Big 12 games here. We got no, number 23 Houston at or sorry, that's not number 23 Houston. Houston's not ranked. Houston has dropped from the rankings. Houston at Baylor, somewhat in-state rivalry. This should be fun. That's at noon on TNT on Saturday, and then Colorado at Kansas State at noon on FS1. Kansas State out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Joe Jackson, that's the name. Runs for 293 yards when he had barely crested 100 yards his entire career and runs for almost 300 against Utah. Like Utah was in a bad way. And then everybody remembered Devin Dampier is great at football.
Yeah.
So um, yeah. By the way, oh, I'm blanking on his name now. The freshman quarterback from Colorado is sitting for this game to preserve his red shirt.
Oh, is he?
Yeah. So good luck, Colorado.
Yeah.
Enjoy getting that like 42-10 halftime score put on you. Kansas State's going to put on a show for senior day. I think that's what's going to happen here. Iowa State at
Julian
Oklahoma
Lewis.
State. Julian Lewis, that's who it was. Kept wanting to say Julian Smith, and I knew that was wrong.
Yeah.
Iowa State at Oklahoma State, noon on ESPNU. Oklahoma State. I hope Eric Morris does a whole lot better for you than whatever the hell's happening right now. Iowa
Yeah.
State wins. I this is would this have been the Bedlam slot?
This would have been the Bedlam slot. Yep.
Can we just point out that like anything could happen at Bedlam except Oklahoma State winning, but then Oklahoma State won the last one, so technically Oklahoma State holds the title forever.
Yeah.
Run it back, Oklahoma, you cowards. Another scenario championship scenario, UCF going to Provo to play at 1 p.m. Eastern on ESPN2. They're playing number 11 BYU. This is an 11 a.m. local kick.
Mm-hmm.
You know who gets excited for mornings? Mormons. BYU goes crazy here. They're going to put on a show. They need style points. Like some of this is also going to be not just making a conference championship game, but also making sure that even if they make the championship game, that they don't get left behind. Like don't win by 5
Right.
over UCF in your last game of the year. You got to put some style points on this one. I'm picking BYU here, which is probably going to give us a rematch of BYU Texas Tech in the title game.
Which would be just fine with me.
I'm here for it.
But
And finally, at 3:30 p.m. on Cincinnati, or 3:30 p.m. on Fox, we have Cincinnati at TCU. Cincinnati kind of fell off towards the end of the season. They had a good run. They'll have a lovely bowl game, I guess. So will TCU. Carla, who do you got in the BYU game, by the way?
the BYU game, I got to take BYU. It's interesting. I agree with your statement there about needing style points because if you paid attention in the way the bracket came out tonight, the projected bracket, BYU sitting at number 11, they are not in the field because the top rated ACC team, they're assuming will get so right now it's Miami. So even though BYU is sitting at number 11, they are not there. They need style points. They need to move up to at least number 10 to make sure that they get into the playoffs. So yeah, I 100% agree. BYU is going to put a hurting on UCF because they need those points. And Cincinnati TCU, Horny Toads, just because they're playing at home?
Yeah,
Sure, why
they're
not?
just at home. Now, we're going to go through the conference championship games potentials. And by the way, I need the playoff committee to listen to this because Miami's not making the ACC championship game. They're not. They need to win, and they need a lot of help. And
Yeah.
we'll get to what kind of help they need. But if we're assuming that the ACC, the highest ranked ACC game team, is the winner of the conference, it ain't going to be Miami because they don't even get a chance to play in that game. We're going to start with the SEC. As all great SEC honk podcasts do. There are 4 teams really with a chance at the SEC championship game. We have Texas A&M at 7-0. Georgia is at 7-1. And if you're wondering why they're at 7-1, it's because they already played everybody. We'll talk about who Georgia Tech I just said who they're playing. They're playing Georgia Tech. So their SEC conference schedule is done. Georgia is set at 7-1. Alabama is 6-1. Ole Miss is 6-1. So there are a few scenarios at play. Let's go through some of these games. Um, Carla, number 4, Georgia at number 23, Georgia Tech, 3:30 Eastern on Friday on ABC, the American Broadcasting Network. Georgia favored by 20, or sorry, not by 20, favored by 13 and a half against number 23, Georgia Tech. The fun index is 59 and a half. Carla, what do we see here?
Yeah, as I mentioned, first of all, thank you to the TV execs who moved this game to a 3:30 kick because I wasn't interested in a super late Friday night on Thanksgiving week, but we're going to get it anyways because thank you, Arizona. Um, my big question here is how mad is Georgia Tech? Like after laying an egg in 2 consecutive weeks, right? I mean, you eke one out at Boston College, and then Pitt comes to your place, and like all you had to do was beat Pitt. All you had to do is beat Pitt, and you didn't do it. Um, their defensive efforts, Georgia Tech's defense has left a lot to be desired the last 2 weeks. We could almost 100% blame their downfall on their lack of defense in both of those games. We've not talked as much about Georgia's defense this year, but they're real good. They're in the top 15 in all categories other than pass defense. Their secondary has some holes. Um, so Haynes King gonna struggle to run the ball against that dog's defense because the Georgia front is tough. They're real tough. Don't get me wrong. I really want to pick Georgia Tech here, just to scramble the playoff rankings just for funsies. But based on what I've seen on the field in the last 2 weeks, these teams are trending in opposite directions, and Georgia's the one trending upward. I'll take the dogs begrudgingly on the road. How about you?
I feel like this is a game that Georgia Tech should get up for, but they have not Georgia Tech has just not played well. They've been giving up a ton of offense. This is their By the way, this is their third defensive failure in a row. They gave up 1,200 yards over the previous 2 games before they played Pitt when they lost to NC State and then they came back to beat Boston College. Their defense is fully broken.
Yeah.
Um, I'm taking Georgia here. This is pretty straightforward. Now, can Haynes King have a game like he had last year where he just ran headfirst into the Georgia defense until they broke? Yeah, but you're going to need way more than that, bud.
Yeah.
And I don't think you have it. You need the other side of the ball to show up like Haynes King. Um, I'm taking Georgia here. At 7:30 p.m. on Friday on the American Broadcasting Corporation, we have a truly great game. Number 3, Texas A&M going to DKR to play number 16, Texas. Texas A&M favored by 2.5. The fun index is 51.5. These two teams they hate each other so much that Texas beating Texas is in the Texas A&M fight song.
Yeah.
That's in the song. Carl, who you got here?
Yeah, that night game at DKR, who boy, you better be ready, Aggies. Because Texas would love nothing more than to play spoiler here against their longtime rivals. Like that's what they want to do. The other danger signal here is that if you look at the results from this season, Texas plays to the level of its competition. Kentucky wants to drag you in the mud. Texas goes down in the mud with them. Vandy and Mississippi State want to get into a shootout. Texas goes there too. Like it's just like they ride the ebbs and flows of their competition. And so if the Aggies are going to rely on their offense, I would anticipate the Longhorns going toe to toe with them in that regard, especially because they're playing at home. So if the Aggies want to win this game, we need the defensive effort that we saw from the second half against South Carolina, not the first half. Right? That's the key here. Marcel Reed is going to see pressure from that Texas defensive front. We know that. The Aggies are going to struggle to run the ball against the Horns defense. But Texas A&M is the better overall team here. This game's tight, it's ugly, it's feisty, but I think Texas A&M is playing for more here, and I think they figure out a way to get it done on the road. But man, eyeballs on this one, friends. This is going to be a good one.
I I'm so intrigued by this game. This has the potential to go one of two ways. Texas A&M beats Texas for a second year in a row, and Horns fans were real mad
Yeah.
because they thought they were going to come in and walk the SEC. They made the SEC championship game last year. Wait, did they win last year? I think they did win last year. They beat Texas A&M in College Station. I am very interested in how this game plays out because this is Arch Manning seeing defenses that he hasn't seen before. Mike Elko is going to have the dogs after him.
Yeah.
And I have a feeling that he's going to get put into a blender like he did against Georgia. I'm taking A&M here, horns down, and that puts Texas A&M into the SEC championship game. Bonus SEC game, number 14 Vanderbilt at number 19 Tennessee. Those numbers are correct.
Yes.
Those are not backwards. At 3:30 p.m. on ESPN. Tennessee's favored by 3.5 at home. The Fun Index is a proper, great eyeball entertaining 65.5.
Yes.
Carla, walk me through this.
Vandy's defense is going to have his work cut out for them, because that Vols offense is fourth in the country in scoring. If you're a Doors fan, as we are on this show, as unabashedly so, your solace here is the fact that Vandy also has a prolific offense. They're ninth in the country in scoring. So Vandy, we just need you to slow down that Vols offense just a tad. That might be enough to get this done. Because the Tennessee defense is not good. That's why that fun
Mm-mm.
index is so high.
Mm-hmm.
Vandy's defense ranks higher in every defensive statistical category. All they have to do is slow down the Vols offense a little bit, and the Vandy offense is good enough to keep up and even surpass them. I'm all in. I'm picking with my heart here. I am all in on Vandy this year. Let's go do this, Diego. Vandy on the road. Go beat them in Neyland. Let's do it.
Build the statue. Just build a statue to Diego Pavia on campus. Just do it now. Like, there is very few times do you see a player come in and truly change the course of a program.
Yeah.
Clark Lee was the coach before Diego got there. It wasn't like Clark Lee came in and magically turned them into a better program. Diego comes in and they immediately turn into a better program.
Yep.
They are now in, I believe they're in on like the number 3 quarterback in the country
They
for the
are.
2026 class. He's a local kid to Nashville, but that's what happens when the local team is good.
Right.
He doesn't have
Right.
to look outside his backyard. He can say, "Oh, I'm going to stay home and I'm going to play at Vandy. I want to do what Diego Pavia was doing." That's what's happening here.
Yep.
I'm taking Vandy too on the road. And you want to listen, you want to talk about some people who are going to be upset.
Yes.
Tennessee fans losing at home to finish the season to Vandy. Whoo, buddy. Give me Vandy. And by the way, that would make I believe that would make Vandy a what is their record right now? Are they would that make them a 10-2 Vandy?
I think they're 10-2 Vandy.
Playoff Vandy? Play. Something's happening in my ear right now. I believe what I'm hearing right now is playoff Vandy. I believe that's what I'm hearing.
They're at number 14. They need some help. They need some help to get there, but you beat Tennessee, that's going to help.
A 10-2, a 2-loss SEC team, and their 2 losses are to Georgia and Texas.
Yeah.
Playoff Vandy. Some are saying it more and more. Let's I need to add one more game in here before we get to the Iron Bowl, and that is the Egg Bowl.
Yes.
Ole Miss, Mississippi State. We did not have this on the docket, but we need to talk about it for conference championship game purposes. That is at noon on ABC on Friday, and that is gross. That is disgusting. This is a 7 p.m. game. What are we doing here?
Yeah.
I understand this is for eyeball purposes and so on and so forth. Ha 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 ha. Egg bowls at noon. Gross. This is also, I'm guessing Joe Tess is calling this game disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. This is in Starkville. So
Which
it's
means
gonna
you're
be
not going to be able to
loud.
listen to it for a number of reasons.
Ole Miss is favored by 7.5. The fun index is 62.5. Ole Miss needs to win this game, and they need Texas A&M and Alabama to lose to make the SEC championship game. Probably not happening. Do we think this team is going to be focused on the game? Because I won't be. I will be focused on what's happening the next day because apparently that's when Lane Kiffin is making his magical decision that will take this carousel and put it into overdrive.
Yeah.
Um, Literally everything is waiting on him, and he loves that.
Yep.
So, do I think Mississippi State makes this awkward for him? Sure. This is the best Mississippi State team they've played in a while,
Hmm.
and they're going to be ornery and they're going to get pointsy, and this game is going to get stupid. Can Ole Miss stay focused long enough? Because, by the way, the last time Ole Miss lost this game is because they had a whole bunch of coaching shenanigans and they were deeply, deeply unfocused. And because their coach just was on his way out and just didn't really prep the team and they barely won. Hope that hasn't happened this time.
Yeah.
Carla, who you got there?
The pick has to be Ole Miss because I think even though the conference title game is kind of gonna, it would be a stretch to get them there. The playoff is sitting right there for them, right?
Hmm.
And they need to win. And also, we're talking about style points with some of the stuff. They need style points too because they're sitting on the bubble of potentially not hosting a first round game. So they
Hmm.
need to because Oregon jumped them this week in the
Yep.
rankings. That was the big playoff news was that Oregon jumped Ole Miss. It's going to be real interesting to see how that all shakes out once we get through championship weekend. Where does Ole Miss fall? Do they get to host a first round playoff game? Because that's huge. So I think Ole Miss gets this done. I'm not sure they get the style points that they need though. I think Klinga makes a case here at home. But again, the fact this game is being played at noon is just garbage. Um,
Gross.
yeah, because that's an 11 a.m. local.
Hmm.
Yeah,
11 a.m. local kick in Mississippi. ESPN should be ashamed of this.
yeah. But
You can
no,
do
Ole
that to
Miss, Ole Miss
BYU.
gets this done, but it's close. It's close.
Finally, in the SEC, 7:30 Eastern on ABC. Number 10 Alabama at Auburn. Alabama by 6.5. The fun index is 46.5. Alabama wins, and they are in the SEC championship game. Carla, who you got here?
The last time we saw a game like this was the Kick Six friends. Just saying. Just saying. Because that game was at Auburn, Alabama playing an unranked Auburn. Exactly the same situation, the exact same setup. So I'm just saying that. But I mean, of course, Alabama is the pick here. Yes, Auburn beat a good Mercer team last week quite handily, but they haven't played well against SEC competition all season. They are 1-6 against conference opponents since September 20th. Um, yeah, I know the Iron Bowl can get weird. Yes, it's a game just like this one that Auburn likes to meddle. But an interim coach and a team whose only conference win is against also interim coached Arkansas, the pick here is Bama.
Yeah, I can see this game. Maybe Alabama doesn't cover for some reason, for some stupid reason, the dumbest reasons possible. But Alabama's winning this game.
Yeah.
Come on now. Jordan Hare magic is incredible, but it's not interim coach incredible.
Right.
I need one of you to name the quarterback for Auburn right now, and I don't think it's Jackson Arnold. Um, so hey, dumber things have happened in this game, but I don't think this is one of those years. So what that means for the SEC is Texas A&M just needs to beat Texas, and they're in. Georgia, if Alabama needs to beat Auburn, and they're in. Georgia needs Alabama and A&M to lose, and they're in. Ole Miss needs to beat Mississippi State and Texas A&M and Alabama lose. So probably not an SEC championship game for Georgia this year. Probably going to be for Alabama and Texas A&M. The SEC West reigns supreme once again.
Yep.
Uh, let's go to the ACC championship game. And I mentioned Miami not making the conference championship game, and that is because there are 6 teams in contention for the ACC.
Yep.
At 6-1 in conference, your Pitt Panthers, SMU, and Virginia, just like we drew it up at the beginning of the season.
Right.
And at 5-2, or at 6-2 is Georgia Tech. They are done. They are playing Georgia. Obviously, we already talked about that game, but Georgia Tech is done. They can't do anything. Duke is 5-2. Miami is 5-2. Now, I'm just gonna quickly breeze through 2 of these games here. SMU is playing Cal in Berkeley? Yes, in
Yes.
Berkeley. That is 8 p.m. On Saturday on ESPN2. It's number 21 SMU. SMU is favored by 13 and a half. The fun index is 52 and a half. At 7 p.m. on ESPN on Saturday is Virginia Tech at number 18 Virginia for the Commonwealth Cup. UVA is favored by 8.5. It's the first time they've been favored in a long time. And the fun index is 53 and a half. If Virginia and SMU win, they're in. That's it. That's all they need to do. They just need to win, and they're in. Now, we start at noon on ABC. Number 12, Miami at number 22, Pitt. Miami favored by 6.5 on the way in. The fun index is 51 and a half. Carla, who you got here?
Yeah. Can Pitt play spoiler 2 weeks in a row? That's really your question here, right? It was pretty obvious that Narduzzi had his guys up last week. Panthers sprinted out to 28-0 lead in the early moments of the second quarter. Like that game, we thought that game was over, right? But here's the thing. The Georgia Tech defense shut down the Pitt offense in the second half of that game, held them scoreless until late in the fourth quarter. For Pitt to win this game, they're likely not only going to have another fast start against that Miami offense, they're going to need to sustain it throughout. That's the difference here. That's what Pitt didn't do last weekend against Georgia Tech. They coasted out to that 28-0 lead, and then they sat on their, they relaxed, they sat back and let Georgia Tech get back into that game. You can't do that against Miami because the Miami defense is legit good. They are tops in the ACC in all defensive categories. I'm sorry, Pitt. I'm taking the Canes here on the road. I think they are the right pick here. I think that defense is going to be that was why Pitt won that game, because we talked about the Georgia Tech defense being basically non-existent for the last 3 games. Not the case for Miami. Miami wins at the Mustard Bowl.
Carla, can I interest you in a weather forecast?
Sure.
The high temperature at kickoff will be 32 degrees. The feels like temperature will be 28 degrees. It is not going to have any precipitation, and where I will be sitting is in the shade. I have tickets to this game. I will be there. Um, I'm going to be very, very cold,
Yes.
but I will be watching a Pitt win because
Miami does not play well in
Miami
the cold.
Miami does not play well in the cold, number one. Number two, I found it very interesting that Pat Narduzzi goes on and says, I don't care. Notre Dame could beat us 110-3. Or 103-10. It doesn't matter. It's not an ACC championship or not an ACC conference game, so I don't care. We are focused on the ACC games. And what did they do against Georgia Tech? They went out and whipped them. I think Miami comes to Pittsburgh in the cold and has a bad, bad time. Um, I think it's close. I don't think it's going to be a blowout. I don't think it's going to be like that Georgia Tech game. And hey, Pitt, I need you to play the second half of the game. They played the
Right.
first half and almost blew it because they're Pitt. But I could see Pitt potentially winning this game, which would give them a shot at the conference championship. They will need some help though, because they need SMU or Virginia to lose in order to make the conference championship. But I'm going to go ahead and take Pitt here, and hopefully my son and I and our friends get to see a Pitt win on Saturday. We also go to another game in the ACC, and that is Duke at Wake Forest. This is at 3:30 p.m. on the ACC network. Duke is favored by 1.5 on the road. The fun index is 54.5. Duke needs Miami to beat Pitt, and they need an SMU or UVA loss. However, if that were to happen, Duke, a 4-loss team, potentially makes the ACC championship game and potentially the playoff,
Yeah.
which would be just truly hilarious. Just wanted to point that out. Carla, any thoughts on any other ACC games there?
Duke, sure. I don't have a good read on Wake. They're up, they're down, whatever. Um, yeah, sure. Duke on the road.
Congratulations to Western Michigan. You are the directional Michigan champions, having beaten Eastern Michigan 31-21. That is a final. Western Michigan is on to the MAC championship game. So we've already punched a ticket. Congratulations, kids. In all the scenarios, we've
Yes.
already fixed one of them. Carla, it's time to talk about the Big Ten.
Yes.
The Big Ten has four teams in contention. We have Ohio State and Indiana at 8-0. Oregon and Michigan are 7-1 in conference. Scenarios to make the Big Ten championship game are pretty straightforward. We're just going to pick one of those games real quick here. If Indiana beats Purdue, they're in. Carla, do we see any reason for that to not happen?
No.
Nope. We're moving on. we're on to the, we're on to the biggest game of them all. Number one, Ohio State at number 15, Michigan in the biggest, nudist game possible on Fox. Ohio State is favored by 9.5. The fun index is 44.5 because Vegas recognizes what this game is. Carla, talk me through this one.
Well, and here's the funny thing because we didn't find out until just a couple of hours before we were hitting the record button tonight that Crappy was going to be here with us. So my notes are real tight because I was expecting Crappy to walk us through this game. So my notes here are literally just, can I grab my notes from last year? Because it's kind of the same thing, right? They all apply again. Ohio State's offense is among the best of the conference, particularly in the passing game. Ohio State's defense is also among the tops in the conference. All the Buckeyes have to do here is get over the yips. Like that's really it's a head game for Ohio State. That's really all this is. Every statistical category, Ohio State is the better team. They should win this game by 10 points. They should cover. They should cover. The Michigan offense is not good. They're not good. Defensively, they're fine. Offense, they're not putting up a ton of points. They're in the lower half in scoring offense in the Big Ten. Ohio State should win this football game. Can they get out of their own heads and get there? We'll see. I'm picking Ohio State. I think this is the year that they get it done. But man, I don't know what else to say other than just like however you get a pitcher out of the yips, that's what Ohio State needs. This is the year I hope they get it done because it's better for the Big Ten if Ohio State can win these games. It makes the conference. It's the perspective. That's the what's the word? Words are hard. It's late on Thanksgiving week, but the perception of the conference is higher when Ohio State can win the games they're supposed to win. They should win this game. Ohio State, do it this year, buddy.
Um, I'm going to go, and then I will provide one note from Crappy. Ohio State has played one total actual game this year, and that was against Texas in week 1. Since then, they have not had to take it out of like third gear all year.
That's
They've
true.
just been slowly turning teams into dust. That's why they're the number one team in the country right now. They have not even been remotely challenged. That's the problem because they've not been tested in any way, shape, or form this year. Every year they always had like the Penn State game. Last year was the Oregon game. They've always had some game in the middle of the season that's like, all right, are these guys really for real or are they just like playing a bunch of cupcakes? They didn't have that game this year because Penn State fell off the wagon.
And they didn't have Indiana this year.
And they didn't have Indiana, and they didn't have USC, and they didn't have Oregon. They played literally nobody. This is literally they ain't played nobody team. So Ohio State is in a 1-game season. You have to beat Michigan. You have to beat Michigan. Full stop. You have to do this. Will Ohio State not make the playoff if they don't beat Michigan? No. They will be in the playoff. There's no question in my mind about that.
Yeah.
You have to beat Michigan. Ryan Day saved his job last year by winning a national title.
Yeah.
Because I can tell you right now, if they had lost that home game to Tennessee in the first week of the playoffs and not gone out there and just absolutely turned them inside out and then did the same thing to Oregon and then did largely the same thing to Texas, Ryan Day doesn't have a job right now.
Mm-hmm.
And I can see, like, you can talk all you want to about it. He only lost like 9 games his entire career as head coach at Ohio State. You lost the one that matters, and that's Michigan. I think they get it done this year. I truly do. I think this is the one where they go, no, no more. We're done here. We're not going to go. We're not losing another one. We are going to go out. We are going to win this game. Ohio State has not beaten Michigan since 2019. I want to point that out. They have not beaten Michigan since pre-COVID because they didn't play during the COVID year.
Right.
They have to win this game. Have to. HAVE have to win this game. I'm picking the Buckeyes. Crappy said, please make it clear that I am picking Ohio State. I'll even go out on a limb and give you a score 35-17. Love you all. The man said it himself.
Yep.
He's even putting a score on it. To me, this is the game that I'm like fascinated by because it is a rivalry game, obviously, but it is a game in which you are clearly the better team in
Yeah.
every single way. And yet you cannot get your heads out of your own butts. This is like Alabama and Auburn in the Iron Bowl. Like Gus Malzahn would do this to Nick Saban occasionally, not 4 years in a row.
Right.
Like the next year, they would go back to Alabama, and Alabama would turn Auburn into dust, and then they would win by like 25 or whatever. And then they go back to Jordan Hare, and then Nick Saban would go into a spiral. It was like the magic of the stadium. This is different. If you
Yeah.
get this win in Ann Arbor, though, the confidence comes back into the sales real fast off of that.
Yeah.
So I'm going to take Ohio State here.
Can I give Ryan Day a piece of advice here?
Yeah, sure. I'll pass it on.
If you win the toss, elect to receive.
Ooh.
Elect to receive. Because here's the thing. If something screwy happens and Michigan goes down and scores on that first drive of the game, you're back in your heads again.
Mm-hmm.
You want to go score first.
Mm-hmm.
Elect to receive if you win the toss. And I think that if Ohio State scores first, they do not lose this game. I firmly believe that. If Ohio State can go up 7-0, even if it's 3-0, I think if Ohio State scores first, they win the game because then they're like, okay, we're in this. But every other time, Michigan scores first and they get in their own heads.
Mm-hmm.
Elect receive.
This is also weirdly the seat is warming under Sharon Moore.
Yeah.
I'm hearing reports that the seat is getting warmer under Sharon Moore, which I find hilarious because it's not like you hired this dude off of some large national search. You hired him because he was the OC under Harbaugh when Harbaugh left, and he was the one who was coaching all the games because Harbaugh was on suspension all the time.
Okay.
Like, sure, like, okay. And I think they're just not thrilled with what they're getting out of him now compared to what they got out of Harbaugh, right? Guy after the guy type of thing.
Yeah.
Um, Also in the Big Ten, number 6, Oregon at Washington. I love this because this is at 3:30 on CBS. Full ba 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 ba. Oregon's favored by 6.5. The fun index is 51.5. This is in Washington. This game is always good. Oregon Washington is a very, very fun rivalry from long, long ago. Carla, what are we looking at here?
It's a 12:30 kick local. Just saying. Like this is a noon kick on the West Coast. Uh, Look at this game on paper. This should be a Ducks win, but it's a rivalry game, so all bets are off. Like you said, this game is always interesting every year. Husky offense has looked really good their last two games. Although, sure, it was against Purdue and UCLA, two of the Big Ten's bottom dwellers, but but they've looked good. As we know, Husky Stadium is loud. It was designed to be loud. It's gonna be loud. I think the difference here is the Oregon secondary. We've discussed them a number of times this year. Their corners are really, really good. Having seen them against some of the top competition in the Big Ten, Washington leans pretty heavily on the arm of Damon Williams Jr. So I, I'll take the Ducks on the road, but definitely get this one in your quad box because this one has the opportunity to be closer than anyone expects it to be.
Yeah, I'm also taking the Ducks here. They are really, really good. They're hitting a stride at the end of the season, which is I think really, really great for them. And this is where the fun of the Big Ten championship game happens. So if Michigan does make it 5 in a row and Oregon beats Washington, Oregon makes the Big Ten championship game. So you likely have an Indiana Oregon championship game. Now, we mentioned earlier, Indiana probably just going to destroy Purdue, right? But let's pretend they don't.
Okay.
Let's pretend that doesn't happen. And let's pretend Washington also beats Oregon. Can I interest you in maximum chaos for the Big Ten? If Ohio State loses, if Indiana loses, and if Oregon loses, you now have four 7-1 teams, which means, hey, Ohio State fans, you really want to go into a spiral? Because you'd have to play Michigan again in Indianapolis. Do you think you could do it twice in a row? Do you really want to spiral? Hey, Ohio State, just win the football game, and that scenario doesn't happen. But
Yeah.
if you lose and Indiana and Oregon lose, you get to play it again. You get to play your nightmare again. I just find that one fascinating. I saw that scenario and I went, yep, I want to put that one in the docket. I didn't tell Carla or Crappy that one. Carla or Crappy, I'm sorry I caused you psychic damage there. Um, but yeah, it's rivalry week. It's Thanksgiving weekend. There's going to be a lot of food. There's going to be a lot of family around. There's going to be a lot of football on the TV. Thursday night all the way through Saturday.
Yep,
And then championship week is next week.
it is.
So we're hitting the end of the season. Hey Carla, how many shows do we have left?
We have like 5 shows left. I figured that
We
out. Yeah, we
we
still have
still have
five shows.
five shows
We
left.
still have five
Okay.
shows left because we have the championship week and then we have Bowlapalooza. So
Mhm.
Bowlapalooza is coming soon, friends. We've scheduled a date for that, so that's going to be happening. And then we have first round playoff, second round playoff, title game. Um, so yeah, we still have a number of shows left. So even though it seems like the season is winding down, there's still a lot of football left to be played, and including FCS stuff and Division 2 and Division 3. Like there's still enough football to keep you satisfied over the course of the next several weeks together. Shall we tie a bow on this one?
I think we should.
We should, boys and girls. You can hear the Carla and Crappy Show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, and a variety of other podcasting hosts. You can watch us on YouTube and or on the show's Facebook page, or both. You can also read us on our Substack, assuming that I write the notes tonight super, super late because it's Thanksgiving. If you like us, please subscribe, rate, and review. If you don't, mind your own damn business, and be sure to come back next week to see just how wrong we were, how chaotic the weekend ended up being, and because, well, duh, AJ just said it. It's championship week, friends. You don't want
Mhm.
to miss next week's show. AJ, is there anything that we left uncovered this weekend that you would like to bring up?
Um, Florida State of Florida. That's funny. That's 4:30 p.m. on Saturday on ESPN2. What was the other one? Oh, final Hawaii test of the year. Wyoming at Hawaii. Hawaii's favored by 8.5 on the island. Fun index is 44.5. That'll be tucking me into bed.
That's an hour
Um,
earlier than usual, isn't it?
yeah. For some reason, they started like after the time zone or after daylight savings time, they started kicking off at 11. I can't remember if Hawaii just decided daylight savings time's not for them anymore. Like on a real Arizona maneuver, which they can. They're in the middle of nowhere. It's not like
Yeah,
they really have to do business with somebody on the other side of the border. It's water.
right.
Um, but yeah, there's that. Also, Notre Dame at Stanford at 10:30 p.m. Eyeballs. Just throwing it out there. Notre Dame's favored by 32.5, but teams that have gone to Stanford have not had a great time.
Yeah,
So
we got a Stanford postulate last weekend. I didn't mention that in my notes, but like we picked Cal and then Stanford won that game, and Andrew Luck had a hilarious interview. I should have known to pick Stanford because Andrew Luck was in attendance at that game, Captain Andrew Luck. Um, and he
general
was
manager of Stanford football, Andrew Luck.
yeah, but
That
he
is his
was
real title.
no. But he was on the sideline being interviewed when Stanford scored a touchdown, and he literally walked away from the interview to go celebrate. It's one of the funniest pieces of television that we've seen in quite some time. Andrew Luck, we salute you. A couple things for me very quickly. MTSU closes out its season on the road at New Mexico State. That's at 3 Eastern on ESPN Plus. They are the underdogs in that game, but man, it would be nice to see Middle win 2 in a row to end the season. And I would be remiss if I didn't mention Penn State at Rutgers. That game's at 3:30 Eastern on the Big Ten Network on Saturday. Penn State needs a win to be bowl eligible to be 6-6. Looking pretty good. They are favored in that game at Rutgers. We'll see if we can get Nick Singleton the touchdown record.
There's
Um,
also one more here. It's one of the prettiest games of the year. It's UCLA at USC.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
They wear the Color Rush uniform, so it's home on home jerseys.
Yep.
That is actually a nod. I didn't realize this. That is a nod to the fact that UCLA, before they played at the Rose Bowl, they played at the Coliseum. That was a shared stadium. So they both wear their home jerseys at their quote unquote home stadium.
Yeah.
UCLA at USC, that's a 7:30 on NBC. USC's favored by 21 and a half. Like, it should probably not be great for UCLA, but it's a real pretty game if you put your eyeballs on that one.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to mention one last thing before we get off the air today. And because I caught it on Instagram yesterday. So friend of the show, Jake Rose, who just got done calling MTSU football for the season. He is now fully into basketball mode. He does a really cool thing. He works with Vanderbilt Monroe Carroll Children's Hospital and does a toy drive every year. And the toy drive is happening again this year. He just opened up for donations. If you are interested in donating a new toy to the children and their families, what they do is they set up kind of like a store. But the families don't have to buy the toys. Like, they set them up, and families get to go through and they can pick out toys, not just for the children who are hospitalized, but also their siblings, to take the pressure off of the families. It's a really, really cool thing that he is a part of. They are collecting toys until December 16th. So you have plenty of time to be able to ship stuff down here to Nashville. I asked Jake how we could point listeners and viewers of our show to him. He said DM him on Instagram. His Instagram handle is at Jake on the mic. Mike is just MIC. So at Jake on the mic, his DMs are open. You can DM him to get the address to be able to send your toys down. But it would be great to see a nice Carla and Crappy show showing in that, because it's a really good thing, really cool thing that he's done now for several years. So so shout out to Jake and that toy drive as we start moving into the holiday season. AJ, thank you for walking us through all of those scenarios tonight. Especially since you didn't know that you were going to be taking the weight of the show up until a couple hours ago. So I appreciate that. Thank you for enlightening all of us. I will enter our bracket as I'm holding it right here. I wrote all of our picks down, so I will scan that and enter our bracket. I will keep you updated as to how we are doing in the bracket pool. And friends, we will be back here next week with our Championship Week edition. Sorry. Champinchip. We need Crappy for that. But Crappy will be back here next week. Enjoy the leftovers. Fix yourself a bowl of mashed potatoes. Sit down on the couch and watch yourself some football this weekend. We will be back here again next week. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Cheers, friends.
Cheers.
Yeah, people, yeah, people.